So when it comes to Trump, do you dislike his policies or him as a person or both?
I don't dislike Trump as a person in the sense that I've never met the guy. So I think he has a lot of personality traits that make him completely unsuited to being president. And also, I think his policy prescriptions, to the extent that they exist and he understands them, which is a different part of it. A lot of the stuff Trump talks about, he still doesn't know how tariffs work. We're 8 years into this thing, 9 years in. He still thinks China pays the tariffs when they're paid by American companies.
Yeah, I've seen him talk about tariffs.
Very confused guy.
Wait, so China's not paying tariffs right now?
The tariffs are paid by the American companies that import the Chinese goods. That's the way it's such a fundamental, and I see you looking a little confused on this one.
Yeah, I'm confused.
In this explosive video, David Pakman takes a Trump-supporting host to school, shattering one myth after another. Sean Kelly walks in fully convinced that Trump's tariffs are punishing China. But what happens next? Total reality check. Pakman walks him through it like a masterclass, revealing that it's actually American businesses and everyday consumers footing the bill. Sean's confusion is written all over his face, but it doesn't stop there. They unravel Trump's broken healthcare promises, tax gimmicks, and chaotic border policies, exposing how Trump often contradicts his own record. Pakman peels back the layers of spin and deception, making it painfully clear that much of Trump's agenda is smoke and mirrors. Don't miss this. It's a takedown you've got to see to believe.
This is the way tariffs work. What Trump did is place tariffs on Chinese imports. By the time the imports get here, China's been paid for this stuff. Maybe they get net 120 terms, right? But in a sense, China has already transacted. The American company who brings the goods in pays the tariffs.
Really?
You're kidding right now.
No, I thought he said he was raising the tariffs by 50 to 100% for Chinese imports.
You got to clip this. I'm begging you. You got to clip this and send it to me.
No, I'm genuinely
None
confused.
of this stuff is getting cut out, right?
No.
Oh, my God.
We post everything.
Please. The tariffs are paid by the company that does the importing. So if you want to build a building in the U.S. and you import Chinese steel, you pay China for the steel, you pay the U.S. government the tariff. This is why it's inflationary. Economists have looked at Trump's tariff proposal and said it would make stuff more expensive for Americans by adding the cost of the tariffs to the total cost of production. So that's the way tariffs work. A lot of people don't seem to know how tariffs work, which is sad because this is how people end up getting sucked into Trump's vortex. He says something that sounds good. I'm going to punish China with tariffs.
Yeah.
In this case, that sounds good. Chinese tariffs. They're paid by the American companies.
Wow.
That's why it's so damaging.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Send me this part of the
No, I
conversation.
will. I genuinely had no idea. I thought China was paying those.
Yep. No, China's not paying them.
Yeah. I thought they were, though.
They're not. Yeah.
So why would he do that? I'm confused.
You'd have to ask him.
All right. So that's one policy you don't agree with. What else?
Trump's policy on taxation. I didn't agree with putting a cap on salt, state and local taxes, for example. I think it's a way to deliberately target blue states, which tend to have better infrastructure and slightly higher taxes. I didn't agree with that. I didn't see any reason to do that. What's funny is Trump is now saying we're going to fix salt. It's like, dude, you broke it. You're now running against your own tax plan. But then when J.D. Vance was asked about it, he said, well, I don't actually know that we're going to do that. So I disagree with the incompetence surrounding it. I disagree with his instinct to just cut taxes for the very rich and corporations. And also, I think he doesn't even know what he's doing. I don't even think he understands his own plan.
This moment is pure gold. Sean strolls in thinking Trump's tariffs are slamming China, only to get completely wrecked by David Pakman. Pakman breaks it down like a pro. It's actually American companies paying those tariffs, not China. And guess who eats the extra cost? You guessed it, regular folks like us. Sean's jaw practically hits the floor. He keeps repeating, wait, I thought China was paying. And it's painfully clear how deep Trump's misinformation runs. But Pakman doesn't stop there. He dives into Trump's tax policy, exposing how he targeted blue states by capping salt deductions while handing fat tax breaks to the ultra-rich. And now Trump's out here pretending he'll fix the very thing he broke. Even J.D. Vance can't keep up with the flip-flopping. It's a brutal reality check, and Sean, he's got nothing left. No counterpoint, no comeback, just stunned silence.
Healthcare framework. When he was candidate Trump in 2015, 2016, he said he'd replace Obamacare with something big and beautiful that would get everybody coverage.
I remember that.
In 2017, they finally put together a proposal. Nonpartisan evaluations found that around 30 million people would lose health care if that proposal had gone through, so he abandoned it. August of 2020, he famously said on Fox News, in 2 weeks, I'm going to have my new health insurance plan. We still don't have it. Kamala Harris asked him during the debate, or was it Kamala Harris, or I don't, maybe it was the moderator, or it was a question, or maybe it was a town hall. He was recently asked, do you have that plan now? And he said, I have concepts of a plan. Not good. Does not inspire confidence to me.
Right.
Not something I would want to take a chance on.
Well, it seems like this election, at least he's saying that he wants to go up against Big Pharma, him and RFK. Do you believe any of that?
You know, I don't know what I believe about that. I believe the most likely. So here's the thing about Trump. The prism through which he sees everything is, what can I say or do that's good for me? Period. No matter who else it's good for. And so I think that Trump talking about making RFK some kind of health advisor, which, by the way, I don't believe he will do. I think he's actually going to realize RFK is toxic to his brand and it's not useful, but he's saying that he would. Okay, we can talk about that later. I think he's saying it because he's trying to find a way to get whatever RFK's support might be to support him. So I think that's why he's saying it right now. Privately, I don't think Trump agrees with almost anything that RFK is saying on vaccines. Or Trump would love to be bragging about the vaccines. He admitted in a recent Fox interview, I can't do it because my voters essentially hate it. Those are my words. He didn't say that, but he said people don't want to hear about it and they're angry or this or that. Trump would love to be bragging about how quickly he helped get the vaccines developed. He can't do it. And it's not about his deeply held belief about vaccines. It's just, what can I say to get more voters? That's all he really cares about.
Well, I would argue that's most politicians, though.
It's most politicians, but there's a degree to which Trump is willing to completely sacrifice what he genuinely believes. I'll give you another example. Trump's been pro-choice his entire life on the issue of abortion. Melania Trump recently in an interview said, I'm pro-choice. Trump contrived and fabricated this anti-abortion view because he said to himself correctly, I'm going to run as a Republican. One of the big fundraising issues for Republicans is that you've got to be against abortion. He started speaking at the Right to Life March or the March for Life or whatever it's called. Nobody who's around Trump believes for a second that he genuinely changed his view on abortion at age 68. And when you ask him why he changed his view, the story is, well, I was pro-choice my whole life. His wife's pro-choice, his family's pro-choice. But then I met a kid who I liked, and the kid's mom said, I thought about getting an abortion, but I didn't. And Trump wants us to believe that that made him completely against abortion.
And now David Pakman drops another bombshell, this time ripping into Trump's long trail of broken promises. Remember when Trump said he'd replace Obamacare with something big and beautiful? Yeah. Turns out the Republican plan would have kicked millions off their health care. And when it flopped, Trump didn't fix a thing. Instead, he teased a mystery plan in 2020, said it was just 2 weeks away. Spoiler alert, we're still waiting. Then he pivots to RFK Jr. and Big Pharma, acting like he's some anti-establishment hero. Please, Pakman sees right through it. It's not about healthcare or vaccines, it's about votes. Trump wants to brag about the vaccine rollout, but he can't because his base hates it. So what's he do? Stays quiet and shifts gears. And let's talk abortion. Trump spent his life as a pro-choice New Yorker. Even Melania is pro-choice. But when the campaign trail demanded it, he did a 180 suddenly anti-abortion after a story about a kid changed his heart? Come on. Pakman calls it out. Just another calculated flip to score political points. From healthcare lies to fake stances on hot-button issues, Pakman exposes it all. And Sean, the man's speechless. No comeback, no defense, just stunned into silence.
All of this stuff is far more nakedly political, whereas let's look at some of the areas where Kamala Harris has changed her mind. Legalization of cannabis. She used to be against it. She now came out with the most left-leaning position any major party candidate has taken, which is she wants it legalized. Oh, but she flip-flopped. She changed her mind. Well, she came around to the right view as public opinion and research on cannabis evolved.
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's no conflict. With Trump, a lot of this stuff feels nakedly and brazenly opportunistic.
Makes sense to me. Now, this is the big one. I'd love to hear your opinion on this one, the border policy.
Okay.
Who do you think's got the better border policy between those two?
Well, the important thing to understand is that Trump's border policy isn't completely clear. I mean, I'll tell you the parts that are clear. He wants to build a wall across the entire U.S.-Mexico border, which you can't actually do. You can only do it in certain parts because there's other types of barriers, including water and different things. I don't think Trump knows. I don't think Trump cares, but he says we're going to build a wall across the entire thing. And maybe Mexico will pay for it. That was part of it in 2016. He failed to do it. You can't do it in a presidential term. You're not going to get Mexico to pay for it. And it's not really going to deal with the broader issue, which is people that are flying in and overstaying visas, people being smuggled in or coming in legally and staying through legal ports of entry, et cetera. So he wants to build this wall. He's not going to build the wall, and it wouldn't actually solve the problem. Trump wants to do militarized mass deportations. When he's asked who would be included in that, sometimes he'll say, well, the criminal illegal aliens who have committed violent crimes. Okay, we already do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have to serve time here first, then they get deported. We already have that in place.
And to wrap it all up, David Pakman absolutely dismantles Trump's greatest hits of political fiction. From empty healthcare promises to bluffing about the border wall and tossing RFK Jr.'s name around like it means something, Pakman peels back every layer of the con. It's not about fixing real issues. It's about looking like he is. Trump sells slogans, not solutions. Mexico will pay for the wall. A beautiful healthcare plan is coming. None of it ever shows up. And Pakman, he exposes it all with receipts. By the end, Sean Kelly's got nowhere to run. No arguments, no defense, just stunned silence. If that takedown gave you life, don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop your thoughts, comments.